Right, next we're off to go and see Kevin Carter on Auchtertool. Kevin approached us as he was renovating his house, effectively bringing it up to current standards by re-insulating all the walls. At the same time, he wanted to upgrade his heating system, his pipework and his radiators, and put a new oil boiler in. We suggested that he didn't put an oil boiler in, instead put an air source heat pump in. This would future-proof his heating system and reduce his energy costs. Kevin, you didn't come to me looking for a heat pump. We came to you with a solution. Do you want to talk me through what happened?
Yeah, so we met when we were looking at doing a big extension to our house. So we increased the size of our house by about 3 or 4 times. And our plan at the time was to carry on with our existing oil boiler, but we had some concerns about the cost of oil increasing and being so volatile. So our challenge to you really was, how do we have a much more efficient heating system that's going to give us a sort of stable price point for the foreseeable future.
Okay. Kevin, what kind of options did you have for heating your new home?
So in our village we didn't have the option of gas, so it was really oil or electric as far as we were concerned. So we had a look at both of those options, but we just had a big concern about the efficiency of electric or the cost of oil and just how volatile the whole thing was. So we looked at things like biomass, and then we spoke to yourself. And you gave us the option of the heat pump. So biomass was quite interesting to us, but it was just, again, it was quite a volatile market in terms of the material. There was a lot more work for us to do. We just wanted something we could just plug in and it just worked. And biomass didn't give us that
confidence.
How
are you finding your home with a heat pump now?
Oh, it's fantastic. I guess the best thing about technology like this is you don't even want to notice it's there, and that's, you know, it's not like other things where you buy and it's nice and shiny, sits in a corner and you're checking it all the time. If it does its job well, you forget it's there, and that's the best endorsement. So from our point of view, it works perfectly. It's easy to control. Actually, there's nothing for us to do, and it's, you know, it's quite flexible. We've got people staying, we're in the house, not in the house. The whole thing's nice and flexible and much more cost effective.
Part of the process of getting a heat pump is you can access Energy Saving Trust loans and the MCS scheme. Can you tell me a bit about that, please?
Yeah, I mean, for us that was quite a big deal because we hadn't really budgeted, which is probably a bit naive for a new heating system. So we had to make sure we had the finance in place and it was viable for us, even though we understood the benefits it brought. So the big thing for us, really, the big advantage for us using you guys was taking us through that process. You know, even before we started talking about cost, told us what the process would be, and you sort of explained the process, gave us the confidence in the process. And actually the process itself seemed quite complicated when you wrote it down, but actually when you talked it through, it felt something we could do. And the great thing about it was you made sure we had all of that in place before we had to make a final commitment to you guys. And that gave us the confidence, and, you know, and it all went well. So at various points we had different bits of information. You guys were able to give that to us within sort of 24 hours, which made the whole thing really simple. And I remember weren't out of pocket at all, which is great.
Getting a new heat pump can be quite an upheaval in the house. Did you have any concerns about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, you know, the one thing you want to work in your house is the heating, hot water. And we got ours installed was, I think, kind of late November, so it was important it was working as soon as it was installed. So for us it was just really about the workmanship and the quality, make sure everything just worked. We'd had various problems with other boilers we'd had, and it was, you know, constant visits, and especially after it had been installed, it took ages to sort of bed down. So for us it was make sure it just worked out of the box, and also that the cost of it and everything was as efficient as we hoped it would be.
And how are you finding it?
Yeah, so the run costs are fantastic. I mean, I think even though our house is bigger than what it was, and we're spending probably more time in the house than we had previously, our costs are about a third of what they were, which is incredible.
After this process, would you recommend a heat pump to anyone?
Absolutely. It's actually a bit of a running joke that I'm constantly recommending the heat pump and you guys to do it to anyone who comes to our house. I mean, I think been blown away by just the kind of the sort of change in technology around all this stuff, and the cost savings are the biggest thing, and we'd recommend that to anyone. It's the quality of what it provides, and, you know, it's great, super reliable, you know, super cost efficient, and anyone who will listen, which isn't many people in fairness, recommend, you know, a heat pump and using you guys to do it.
So Kevin, a heat pump is an expensive technology. How are you finding the cost against a normal heat system?
I mean, for us, we took advantage of the RHI scheme, which meant that they covered 75%. We got an interest-free loan for 75% over 10 years in RHI payment, then covers those payments for us pretty much. And in fact, after year 3 or 4, we actually make a little bit of money back on those. So for us, it was the cost of a cheap, you know, standard heating system to install.
Okay. If somebody else was going through this kind of work in their house, would you recommend a heat pump?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. If you're upgrading your house, you should be upgrading the heating system as well. And I mean, for us, what you realise is the old heating systems just aren't really up to spec now. This is kind of the future of heating if you want to do it efficiently. So yeah, absolutely, it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Now, with a new heat pump, it comes with NIBE Uplink as standard. How are you finding that?
Oh, for us it's great. Everyone likes an app for a start, but what we like about it is we can control it when we're in the house. We can keep an eye on things. If we're off on holiday, we can turn it off, turn it back on again on the way back. But really the big thing is peace of mind. So we know if there's a problem with it, we get a notification, and more importantly, you get a notification before we do. So and that's great to know that we don't have to pick up the phone, and you guys will know about it before we do, and hopefully responded to it. So.